be critical means to actively engage with the source rather than passively accepting it. Being critical means evaluating a text or data set as you study it, questioning the source and thinking about how it compares with other sources and relates to your own argument. Evaluating a source is really important in order to establish its reliability. This will be easier if you can consider A, B, C, D. A is for author. Who wrote the text? Are they reliable? B is for bias. Is the author biased? Do they have any strong opinions? C is for content. Is it an opinion piece? Is it factual? D is for date. When was the piece written? Is it up to date? As well as assessing the reliability of the text, you need to assess what the author is trying to achieve. What effect are they trying to have? Are they aiming to persuade? Are they aiming to give a balanced account? You need to read between the lines and establish what it is they're attempting to do. Before you begin reading the text, you need to establish what it is you want to get out of it. Why are you reading it in the first place? A good way to maintain focus on a text is to make notes as you're reading. You want to be consistently processing the information by making notes relevant to what you want to get out of the text. If you read the text with these above questions in mind, you can make relevant notes. This means when you have finished reading, you can consolidate your thoughts and learning by writing a brief summary of your main argument of the piece, its strengths and weaknesses, and how it connects to your ideas. By actively engaging with the text, driven by a set purpose, you'll be able to get lots more out of it. Stage 2. Analysing data. Data is important because it allows you to support your argument with evidence. Data allows you to make conclusions and can act as a means to display and describe information. Firstly, you need to establish what kind of data you've got. Data can be categorized as either quantitative or qualitative. Quantitative data measures the quantity or amount of something. It measures information that can be written down in numbers. For example, there are 4 black cats and 5 orange cats. Or, the cake was 50% chocolate and 50% vanilla. By contrast, qualitative data measures opinions, feelings, and experiences. It measures information that cannot be written down in numbers. For example, the cats have orange, brown, black, or white fur, or the cake tasted like chocolate and vanilla. When analysing both quantitative and qualitative data, we are looking for trends and possible conclusions we can draw from the data. Quantitative data allows us to recognise relationships between 2 or more factors, looking at the frequencies of variables, how many times a number occurs, and the differences between variables, comparing the frequencies to make conclusions. We can then further analyse the data using statistical tests such as standard deviation to establish the significance of results. Often, quantitative data will be put into graphs or charts in order to better see and display trends. You should choose the graph or chart that best represents your data. Qualitative data is slightly more difficult to analyse because there are no figures to work with. You can get around this by forming categories and grouping similar data together. For example, if asking people how to describe their perfect day, you might group together people who mention the weather or people who mention their friends. You can then establish trends and relationships within your data, much as you would when looking at quantitative data. Displaying data is a means to discover relationships and trends within your data, as well as a means to best represent those trends and relationships for other people to see. There are lots of different options, and these are just a few. Firstly, tables. Pros. Tables are flexible and you can decide how much information to include. Cons. Tables are not as visual as charts and graphs. They're especially useful for qualitative data since, because it's not numerical, you can't put it into a chart or a graph. Secondly, line graphs. Pros. Displays trends well and allows you to work with small or large data sets. Cons. Can't be used for qualitative data and can only be used for continuous quantitative data. Continuous data is the data we take from measurements. It's data that can take on any value. For example, when measuring height, someone can either be 170 centimetres or 170.1 centimetres or 170.0001 centimetres. The value can be anything, not just discrete integers, such as when we are counting the number of people in a room, 1, 2, 3, etc. We can only get whole numbers. Thirdly, bar charts. Pros, easy to understand. Cons, not always efficient in large-scale research. They are perfect to use for displaying frequencies. Whereas our fourth option, pie charts, are perfect for displaying proportions. Pros, visually powerful and easy to understand. Cons can only be used for one dataset. They display segments that make up a whole, so are brilliant for using when displaying percentages. Overall, there's lots of options for displaying data, but the right choice is defined by what you're trying to show, and to do that, you really need to analyse your data and come up with the trends or relationships you want to display. Good luck!